All right, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's 2017 MLS Cup Team Press Conferences. We're looking forward to the series of events this week that leads us into Saturday's MLS Cup, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, Unimas, TSN, TVA Sports, and to 170 countries around the world. To kick us off today, we welcome Toronto FC head coach Greg Vanney, captain Michael Bradley, and forward Josie Altidore. We're going to go straight into the Q&A, so please raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. Start right here. Please state your name and organization.
David Schultz, Globe and Mail in Toronto. Josie, how's your ankle? Are you going to play?
Yeah, I'll play.
Jeff Carlisle with ESPN FC. My question's for Michael. Seattle's got a little bit of a different team than they had a year ago. In what ways are they going to challenge you that will be different from the game last year?
Yeah, obviously, Clint enters into the equation in a big way in terms of his ability to make goals and set up goals, to turn plays that seem like nothing into danger. Obviously, Lodero's a guy we're going to have to collectively do a really good job on. His ability to float around the field and find space and find the ball is very good. Will Bruin has been a very important guy for them in this last stretch and has been in good form. And then we'll see how they complement those guys around them in terms of who's on the field and in what spots. But it's a very good team, and we'll have to collectively be at our best to make sure we can make things hard on them.
Josie, Kelsey Braid, TSN. You'd said last Wednesday that nothing was going to take this game away from you. Is the ankle pain free? Is it as close as it's going to get? Is it better than what you expected it was going to be at this point?
It doesn't matter.
Great. Next question. Front row, Paula.
Chico Nashon, CBC Sports. Question for you, Josie. Sloane Stephens' incredible story this year. She won the U.S. Open, come back from injury. How much has that kind of inspired yourself? Like, is there anything you can draw from her own career that you've kind of put that into your own?
A bit different sports, but how she was able to come back and recover and to step into a big tournament like the U.S. Open and really go after it says a lot about her character, and I'm proud of her. Everybody's proud of her, and hopefully she can kick on next year and do more of the same.
Steve Gennaro on Sports Talk. Josie, Michael, for both of you, how does this game rank in terms of your career as far as big games that you've played?
Never easy to rank. In general, the opportunity to play in a final is special, and is not something that comes around all the time. And so we've talked about that all week, which is just over the course of your career, to find teams and groups of guys where things are different and special. That's so unique, and we feel like we have that here. We feel so proud of what this year has been for us in terms of from day one, everything we've put into things, and we get our reward or one of our rewards tomorrow, which is the opportunity to step on the field in our stadium in our city and play in a final, play for the chance to hold up a trophy. As competitors, you want to play in the biggest games and the biggest moments when everything is on the line, and that's certainly the case tomorrow.
Ryan Tolmich, SBI. This is for Greg and Josie. You look at Seattle's defense these last few weeks, and in the playoffs in particular, they've been pretty much near perfect, and they kind of defend from the front, the midfield, the defense. It's not just all the back line. How do you guys kind of put yourselves in positions to kind of challenge that defense? And what are some of the things that you're going to look to try and get players like Josie and Victor and Sebastian into, and to kind of get that space to kind of do what you guys need to do?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that collectively they're a good team. Defensively, everybody that they play is committed to the effort, to getting behind the ball, to making things difficult. Obviously, they have two big, strong center backs who take up a lot of space there in the back line, and the midfielders in front of them do a great job of protecting them. When I watch the games, I feel like on some aspect, in order to win games, you've got to break your shape a little bit. You've got to make things difficult for the opposition, and you have to create some uncertainty for their back group and not make things so straightforward to them. And I feel like as I watched some of the Western Conference games against them, a lot of things were very straightforward against them, and they managed all those things very well. So for us is to try to make things difficult, get guys in areas that we think we can take advantage of, make sure we get our guys on the ball as much as we can, and execute when we get chances to execute. So again, good defensive team, but we think we can find some spots to create some problems for them.
He answered it perfect.
Matt Pence for ESPN FC. My question's for Michael. You talked about the pride in playing for the city. How would you sort of describe the vibe and the atmosphere around Toronto this week, and how is it different, if at all, from last year leading up to this game?
In terms of differences, hard to tell. In general, this is a sports mad city. You know, it has a way of wrapping its arms around its teams and its athletes, and if you can embrace that, if you can understand that it's a privilege and a responsibility, that it won't always be easy and perfect, but you have character, you have personality, you're willing to, you're willing to represent them and the city in the best possible way. It's incredible, and I think the relationship that our team has with our fans and with the city is incredible. It's so unique, and we're gonna draw on that in a big way tomorrow afternoon.
Raúl Guzmán, Univisión Deportes. Coach, what kind of game do you expect? As tight as the last year, or more open game?
Initially, I think the game will be relatively tight. I don't think, at the onset that either team wants to give away too much. But goals always determine and change games. And last year, neither team could quite get the edge on the other to force them to come out and really expose themselves to chase the game a little bit. So ultimately, goals will dictate sort of how open this game gets. But I think it'll be cagey at first, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Franco Panizo for Josie and Michael. Last year, you guys always had a big opportunity, and then they beat you on penalty kicks. What was the feeling like when they were here celebrating on your field, and you guys weren't able to close it out? And how much of that feeling lingers or remains going into this game, another championship game against the same team at home?
It was not great. So it's good that we have a chance to hopefully reverse that feeling on Saturday.
Sam Stejskal with MLSsoccer.com. This one's for Michael. There's been a lot of talk this week about these two teams kind of being model clubs in MLS, both on and off the field in terms of everything that they do. Do you buy into that? And if so, do you think it kind of heightens anything in terms of the moment or meaning on Saturday?
What was the first part of your question? I'm sorry.
If you buy into the thought that these are two of the model teams in MLS.
I do. Obviously, I've not been on the inside of things in Seattle, but everything you hear is that similar to our club. They try to do things at a high level and in the best possible way. And I think for the league to have more and more clubs that are willing to spend in different areas, willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that on and off the field things are done at the highest level. that's how the league gets moved forward, and ultimately that's what we all want. And I think it's even more exciting when you have another season where the two teams standing at the end are two of those types of clubs, because I think it encourages, I think it justifies everything that is being done, and I think it encourages everybody else to try to do the same, to try to keep pace, and so I think ultimately in a league you're never going to have every team that is going to go about it the same way. You wouldn't want that, but I do think it's a very positive thing that teams that are bold and not afraid to go for things in a big way are getting rewarded.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This one's for Michael, Kelsey Braid, TSN. You guys had the orange snowball out at practice today. Last year it was cold during MLS Cup. The fact that there could be some snowfall this year, just what type of conditions are you guys preparing for?
It's going to be cold. It's Toronto, right? It's Toronto in December, and so I don't think nobody thought any different. At least for me, and we've not spent a whole lot of time talking about it or worrying about it, because ultimately it's one of those things that gets filed away under things that we have no control over. In the end, you just hope that the game isn't affected by the temperature. I think we all felt like at the end last year, it was bitter. It was bitter and dry, and it made for a difficult night in a lot of ways. I think tomorrow or Saturday, I think the temperature should be a little closer to zero. Chance of some snow falling on a heated field hopefully keeps the field slick, and I think I think the conditions actually set up for a good game.
Thomas Floyd, Goal.com. Greg, obviously the MLS Cup title would speak for itself, but how much would it mean to become the first MLS team to win 3 titles in the same season?
It's been something we've talked about at the beginning of the year, but it's, as we talked about that, we always talk about what does it take to actually do those things, and what does that process look like, and are we all committed to the daily work that it takes to do those types of things. So while we know it's there, again, we don't really talk about that anymore. It was something we set up at the beginning of the year. What we talk about now is what do we need to do tomorrow with every possible play that we need to make? How do we set ourselves up with the best chance to win? And obviously, as the game progresses tomorrow, we'll have to make adjustments, decisions, all those kinds of things. And if we do a better job than Seattle, then the outcome will take care of itself. And if we get to that point, then we'll talk about what all of that means. But tomorrow for us is really about a process of trying to win the game. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Saturday. A process about trying to win the game on Saturday, and the rest is, will be history after that.
In the back.
Hi, David Goss, MLS. Greg, when you look at this Seattle team, Dempsey and Jovan Jones higher up the field this year, you're a team that likes to sometimes get in transition to try and create chances. They can be pretty lethal that way with Lodero. How do you find that balance?
Well, first you deal with transition by being good with the ball. When we have possessions, it's making sure that we are responsible with our possessions. We make good passes, we make good choices. Secondary is that we always have good cover behind our attacks, and making sure that we're taking care of the guys that they have who sometimes half defend, half get ready to take off in transition, and making sure we're accountable to all those things. And then, ultimately you have to hurt teams who have players who kind of do that. And if you can hurt them and create chances, it forces them to have to respect the defending side just a little bit more. And when they do that, then they lose some of those attacking positions that they like to take up in terms of transition. So, but we know they're capable both in possession and in transition. Any team that gets to this point has to be good in both sides of attack that way. We just need to be, smart about how we go about business, and try to hurt them in the moments where we have the opportunity to hurt them.
Right.
This one's for Greg. Justin Morrow is a guy who this year really took a big leap, and it was probably his best ever year. As a player, how did he kind of progress this year, especially within this system and against this Seattle team? What are some of the things that he's going to be able to do to help in both attacking and kind of defending a team that can counter like that?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Justin has an incredible engine to get up and down the side, and to be able to be in attack in one play and in the very next play be in the back helping out our guys defensively. I mean, he's an incredible engine to run the side like that. You know, Justin's, I think, his emergence over the last couple of years is just because he's become more and more aggressive on the attacking side. He's always been a competent, solid defender. And the more aggressive he's gotten on the attacking side, the more problems he's created. He takes advantage of what our guys up front and the guys on the right side are able to do. He finds his way into the box, and you can't. It's very difficult to account for a right back or left back or a left wing back who's arriving into the box when you're dealing with everything else. So, again, for him tomorrow is to remain aggressive, keep doing the things that he's been doing. It doesn't change because it's a final. It's we want to see Justin do all the things that he's been able to accomplish this year on the biggest stage tomorrow, or on Saturday. I keep saying tomorrow, but Saturday.
James Sharman, Sportsnet. Michael, is the word revenge something that we use in the media, or is it something you guys are using in the room as well?
Ultimately, it's down to each guy in terms of what they, their perspective on things. For me, revenge is not really part of it. It's Seattle again. I think we're all excited it's Seattle again, but for me, the way I look at things, this is about our group of guys, our club, this city, the road that we have all taken to get here, what it meant after the disappointment and the heartbreak of last year to have to live each and every day this year, knowing that in the back of our minds, this was all we wanted, to give ourselves another crack. And so, like I said, it's in my mind, this is about us. This is about us stepping on the field tomorrow on Saturday, and going for it. And even in the biggest game, having a group of guys who, in a fearless, aggressive way, are ready to go after things, and that's what we have done every single time we've played this year, whether it's been home or away, regardless of who we've played against. We have stepped on the field trying to be aggressive, trying to go for it, and trying to win. And we're going to do that one more time and see where that leaves us.
Great. Any other questions? We'll go to the back.
Thanks, Coach, for Coach Fanny. I just wonder whether you could comment on your Seattle counterpart, whether you think Brian has afforded the national recognition he deserves based on his achievements with that team.
It's tough to say, honestly, because I don't, as my fellow reporters here know, I don't read a lot of stuff, and so I don't follow a lot of how much people are talking about one thing or another, so I don't have an opinion on that. What I would say is he's done a phenomenal job since he's taken over as the head coach. He's obviously been able to get that group of guys to really compete, and on some great runs last year to get to the final and accomplish what they have been able to accomplish. They turned around this year and had a solid season and are right back in the final again. So, kudos to him. He's done a great job with his group. He really knows that team. He knows those players well, and he's able to get a lot out of them. And so, how much recognition he gets, I'm not quite sure, but I think he deserves, obviously, credit for what he's been able to accomplish, that's for sure.
All right, we'll do the front right here to wrap it up.
James Grassi, MLSsoccer.com. For Michael and Josie, last week Greg was speaking about seeing an evolution in Sebastian Giovinco's game over the time that he's been here. What have you guys seen in terms of how he's evolved as a player?
I think he has, with every day, understands more and more our team, the league, and everything that it takes to continue to be successful. I saw a few comments Greg made earlier in the week, which was, in a lot of ways when he first arrived, I don't think he knew a ton about the league. The league didn't know a ton about him. He very early on said, I need to play as close to I'm best as close to the goal as possible because, my best quality is still how I can score goals. And we all see that week in and week out in terms of his ability to score goals in so many different ways. And I think the thing that has improved, and it's not even that it's improved because his quality he's always had this quality, but in his recognition of how much he can help our team in other ways in terms of finding the moments to come back into the midfield and get balls in those spots, how to drift off the center backs a little bit so he's able to take certain balls and face forward and run at them. And so it's been a two-way street, for the last few years in terms of him learning about the league and understanding us and us doing the same for him. And I think, we're all very honest with ourselves and also understand that as we continue to grow and improve and as we continue to try to push the envelope, there's always the need to continue to tweak things to make sure that we evolve and grow in the right ways. And I think his mentality, his humility for the way that he's ready to do whatever it takes to help the team is huge. And so we're going to continue to build on all of that together.
All right. So with that, we'll wrap up this portion. We thank Toronto FC for your participation and best to you the rest of the week.
Thank you.
The Seattle Sounders portion of the press conference will begin approximately 2:05 p.m.